I'm Scott Malin.
And I'm John Riley.
Our presentation is on the tool of state transition diagrams. So in software engineering, code can be very difficult to visualize, and diagrams make it easier. State transition diagrams, they focus on different states of an object in a system. They show the different behaviors the objects have and what causes them to change into a new state. State transition diagrams are also not supposed to be very complex. You don't want a lot of objects in a system, because the more objects you have and the more states that they're in, the less useful these diagrams become, because they start to just get overwhelming with all the different states and the transitions that are involved with each object. So state transition diagrams are a great way to visualize the behaviors and the objects in a system and how the different states that they need to be in. But our state transition diagrams also shouldn't be used in systems that don't work in a sequential order. This is because you don't want an object that can be in multiple states at one time, or the objects can transfer into new states randomly. You want to make sure the system has objects that it's very easy to see which state it's going to be in and what's causing it to go into the new state.
So to better understand how a state transition diagram works, take a look at this example. Here we can see that this state diagram is representing the various states of a recipe object from its initialization until its deletion. The solid black circle simply represents the beginning of wherever a state diagram starts. We can see by this box surrounding most of the image that this is showing the states of a recipe. In the app, data would be received in order to initialize and populate the recipe object. After the object is initialized and uploaded, we can see here it is in a live state. I gave it this state just for a lack of a better word. From the live state, there are a few different states the recipe can enter. One of the options is the recipe can be made public, meaning other users of the app can see it too. And the recipe can also be converted and exported, making it a PDF or whatever the output might be. The recipe can also be deleted. This black circle here with a line around it represents the end of a state diagram.
So again, some of the upsides of one of these diagrams is it provides a really great way to overview an object and to see all those different states that this specific object will be in. The state transition diagram is a fast and easy way to see how an object will transition into a new state, and you can visualize the behavior of each object you're looking at. Now again, to go over some of the downsides of these diagrams is you don't want to have them in a system that has tons of different objects, because all of the states of an object must be defined. So if you have way too many states for an object, then you start to lose some of the functionality and the reason why you'd even want it. You want it to be very simple and not be very complex. It's also really hard to view the entire state of the application by looking at individual objects. So the more objects you have, the harder it is to view the entire system and how it all works together.
So ultimately, we determined that creating state transition diagrams for the Food for All web app would not turn out to be very beneficial, so we don't recommend it. The largest deciding factor in this decision is that due to the nature of the apps, the objects, recipes, groups, meal plans, shopping items, etc., aren't dynamic enough in the sense that they don't have many various states throughout the duration of their lifetime. Even the object that would change more commonly, such as meal plans and groups, aren't complicated enough to justify needing a state diagram to illustrate their various states. We do, however, recommend that we use instead activity diagrams. Activity diagrams are used to model a sequence of actions to capture the process flow actions and its results. They would provide a more general flow of the application process of Food for All. So let's review a little bit about what we've learned about state transition diagrams. State transition diagrams are used for producing an easy-to-read document that explains the different states an object can be in and how it transitions into those states. They create visual representation of an object's behavior, making it easier to understand various object states. They don't work well for showing the general flow of an application because they only focus on one object rather than the combination of many. And we recommend, instead of using state transition diagrams, to use activity diagrams.
All right, thank you guys for watching this, and good luck on your exam.